In NAMI, Tennessee land. I am super excited to be here. And I don't have one guest, I don't have two guests, I don't have three guests, I have four guests for you today. Remember, we do this every Monday at 2 Central, 3 Eastern. And you would know that if you signed up for our email list. It's namitn.org. Sign up. Super cool things happen. You'll find out about, well, things like this, advocacy issues, the goings on at NAMI Tennessee. And for example, right now, you would have known that NAMI Tennessee's virtual conference is September 23rd and 24th, which is here in just a few days. Now, if you're watching this, it's because you want a sneak preview for what's going to happen. And like I said, I brought along 4 very cool people to make sure that happens. Welcome, everybody. Look at all these people. Just so many people. All right. We're going to have to find some way to like single file. This is kindergarten, to have everybody introduce themselves. Well, there's got to be some expeditious way to do this. So everybody gets 60 seconds. We'll start with Rachel. We'll go Rachel, Roger, Alisa, Jeff. We'll wrap up with Jeff.
Boo.
Rachel, tell the fine folks who you are. Who you are is muted right now.
Who I am was muted. Sorry about that. I'm Rachel Wilson, the Youth and Young Adult Coordinator for NAMI Tennessee. So I run a program called Ending the Silence, which is a program that teaches youth and young adult populations about mental health and in an attempt to decrease the stigma. So we present at a lot of high schools, and yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then now it is Roger's turn.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. I'm Roger Stewart. I'm the Deputy Director of NAMI Tennessee, and I work with all of our education programs and outreach programs. We help train our volunteers to become advocates or teachers or do the things that they want to do within their community. And I'm just excited to be here for this and to talk about our convention, my favorite time of year for us.
Wonderful, Roger. Thank you so much. All right, Alisa.
Hi, everybody. I'm Alisa LaPolt, and I'm the Policy and Advocacy Director for NAMI Tennessee. And what I do is I research, evaluate different bills and pieces of legislation, going through the Tennessee legislature to make sure it helps and not hurts individuals with mental illness and their families. And then I also educate people on how to talk to legislators, because sometimes it can be scary. I help people explain, their journey through mental illness, and so policymakers can understand that when they make their decisions about funding and policies.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. All right, Jeff, welcome.
Well, welcome, and I've got a special message for you, Gabe, and we'll see if it works. You ready?
Uh-oh.
Okay. O-H.
I-O!
There you go.
I'm not even on the screen, but everybody from Ohio knows the I-O.
I know we're in the South here, and there's probably not a whole lot of Ohio State folks, but Gabe's in Columbus, where I went to school once upon a time, so I hope you forgive me that. The convention is really important to me, and I'm as the Executive Director of NAMI Tennessee, because for us to be successful, we need to touch more lives. Mental illness impacts so many people, and some of those people are caregivers, their loved ones and family members of people living with a mental health condition. And then you have people also living with a diagnosis. And we have a convention for all of them and also for the professionals as well. So it's really an opportunity for us to invite people under the big tent to learn more what NAMI has to offer in different ways and bring together a whole lot of great people and education and information. So that's what I'm about.
Wonderful, Jeff. Thank you so very much. And Rachel, I believe you had one more thing.
I do have one more thing, and I unmuted myself this time. So I also run the TikTok for NAMI Tennessee, and I would love it if anyone that watches this video or anyone that is watching it right now hops on TikTok and follows us. If you have a TikTok, it's NAMI_Tennessee. Give us a follow.
Now, for the older generation, no, I'm just kidding. Rachel, thank you so much. Well, we have a lot to get through in the next 45 minutes or so, including an opportunity to answer your questions. So please type them into the chat, type them into the comment section, and we will answer as many as we can. Keep them convention related, please. And somebody's going to write, what is TikTok? I guarantee it. It's going to be fun. That's not convention related. But also we have 3 great videos to play. So when it comes time to play those videos, the speaker who gave me the video, just let me know and I'll play it. And it's going to be fantastic. All right, we're ready to jump in with the first question? All right. Well, we like to start right at the beginning. Why are we hosting this conference?
Oh, I told you before, it was one of my favorite times of year. And I still remember I was trying to remember specifically, it's either been 25 or 26 years ago was the very first time I crawled into a car with 2 ladies who were the head, Stella Flynn and Sally Ray, who were the head of the NAMI Nashville at that time. 2 leaders there, and got in that car and rode to Gatlinburg to them to the very first annual conference I've ever went to with NAMI. Now we're celebrating this year our 35th annual conference, and that's a wonderful thing. We have a great history with this. But one of the reasons why we do this is it's such a great opportunity for the NAMI family to get together and to begin sharing things about what's working. What do we know is working? How can we have more of those things? How can we help each other? How can we support each other? How can we inform each other? Because it's really, really hard. It's gotten a lot easier now that we have the internet, but 25 years ago when I went, it wasn't available. You couldn't get all of that information. What you still have trouble getting from the internet is that personal connection, the understanding and empathy with other people who, just like you, are trying to make it through the maze of mental health and getting help and being able to find answers to questions. And that's the wonderful thing about this is you're going to, if you participate in the NAMI Tennessee conference, you're going to find other family members, you're going to find other individuals with mental health conditions, other professionals just like you, and we're all working towards the same goal, to make this a better world for people with mental health conditions. That's ultimately the goal. So this is a great time. To me, this is always, virtual is a little bit different. It's a lot more challenging than it was face-to-face. But I absolutely have always thought about this as our family reunion. It's the same way that when I get to travel back to Alabama and I get to see cousins from extended family and aunts and uncles and people I don't get to see on a regular basis. I get to see my NAMI cousins from Johnson City and from Memphis and from Chattanooga and all the places I'm not at all the time. And it's really wonderful to see where people are at in their life and to see the hope that they continue to have as we find our way through this maze.
Roger, thank you so much. Does anybody else have any thoughts on why we're hosting the convention? Roger summed it all up perfectly. I love it. Good job. Like, this never happens. Whenever I talk, everybody's like, I have like 5 more things to add. Here's all the mistakes Gabe made. So Roger, kudos. Let's jump to the next question, because this is 2 days long. And I think any reasonable person is like, look, is this going to be worth my time? Why should someone dedicate 2 days to attending the NAMI Tennessee convention?
Well, I could answer that one. And the answer is because we are so chock full of information, so much information to give to people, that it takes 2 days. We could probably go for 3 or 4 days, but we want to make it, 2 days so that people can attend and not get not get overwhelmed. Our first day, it goes to 4:30, and then the second day on Friday, we have a shorter agenda. But the idea is to give people the information that they need in a way that they can process it. We've got so many great speakers. We have Dr. Ken Duckworth, who is the chief medical officer or medical director, for NAMI National. And we're going to be having a lot of sessions on CIT, which is the crisis intervention team, law enforcement response to individuals with mental illness. We're going to be talking about youth and young adults and how mental illness affects them and some exciting things that are going on around there. So there's so many topics that it literally takes 2 days to get through it. And if you can't attend all 2 days, I'm pretty sure, and Jeff, correct me, but these are going to be recorded. So if you're registered to attend the event, you can access those recordings.
Some of the sessions are going to be recorded. On some of the sessions, unfortunately, we haven't been able to secure the presenter's permission to be able to utilize their recordings for different contract and other reasons, but we're going to make all of the sessions that we can available on video afterwards.
Great.
Well, that is wonderful. Thank you so much. Does anybody else have any other thoughts for our audience on why is it worth 2 days? I mean, the wealth of information alone is just not something that you can deliver in a couple of hours. I think it would really be shortchanging to do so.
Well,
but
Gabe, I'll take a stab at that.
Yeah,
one.
please.
And people were surprised to know me. I didn't have a comment on the first question or two, but here we go. Partly why it's 2 days is because we're all living life at the same time. You may be working, you may be raising children, and you just may not be comfortable sitting down for as long as it takes. So the schedule is now on the NAMI Tennessee webpage, namitn.org, namitn.org. Check out the schedule, and you can look at the parts that you really care about. And it's not the same as when you drive to Nashville or Memphis or wherever, and you're kind of there all day. You can pick and choose, and we've priced this at such a low rate that if you miss part of it, you're not really out that much, because the lowest price is $5 and the highest price is $20. So it's affordable, and you don't have to see all of it. Pick the part that's meaningful to you, that speaks to you. Look at the program descriptions and what you're interested in. And then, people are busy somehow. I mean, I'm at home, I've been working at home, and I'm busier than I've ever been.
Wonderful, Jeff. Thank you so very much. And this allows me to jump ahead a little bit, Jeff, since you brought it up. There is a question. I'll find it. Is there a cost? There it goes. Is there a cost, and if so, why?
Well,
I know there's
I'll
a cost.
We
let the rabbit out of the bag.
That there's a cost to production. To move to virtual and have it professional and put the things together that we're putting together, we try to cover some of the cost, and we have sponsors as well, and we're thankful to the sponsors. But it is actually free for students, and it's free for foster parents that can get CEUs. So we think that's kind of cool. And then we have an open door for people that have limited financial means, and that's $5. So there's a small cost, but it's just really to help cover the production.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Jeff, for answering that question. And Rachel.
Yes, I'm going to say the same thing as Jeff. I bet you all are surprised that I didn't comment on the first question either. So no, I was just going to say, so students, that does include university students, bachelor's, master's, doctorate level students. So if you have a school email, you can sign up and get in for free. And that also includes high school students. It is on a Thursday and Friday, so that may not work, but it does.
Wonderful. Rachel, thank you so much. Are there any other comments before we move on to the next question?
Yeah, I just wanted to add something to add to what Jeff was saying about the cost. Some people might say, well, it's online. What's the cost there? Well, there's actually graphic arts that we put together, logos, adding to our website, and the actual platform that delivers our conference. You're going to see that it's very nicely organized and orchestrated. That takes time and resources and money. So, but again, it's very affordable, and we want to make it that way so as many people as possible can attend.
I really appreciate that. Thank you all so much. All right, let's jump to the next question. Oh, whoops. I skipped it. There we go. So the next question is, and we've talked about some of the folks who should attend, but who should attend? And I'm going to throw a little extra in there. Why should that group attend?
I can answer that. So what makes NAMI Tennessee and all of NAMI very unique is our inclusion of caregivers. So obviously, NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, focuses on individuals with mental illness. But an important component is our caregivers, our loved ones, our friends, moms, dads who care for the individual. And it's a great opportunity for those caregivers and loved ones to attend our conference because they get to feel connected with other people who feel just like they do. It can be exhausting. It can also be very rewarding. And so they'll learn, just that other people are out there and they're not alone. So caregivers are definitely one group that I would highly encourage them to participate.
Wonderful. Thank you. Would anybody else like to take a stab at answering it?
Yes, absolutely. I am commenting on this one. So I'm a little biased as the youth and young adult coordinator for NAMI, but I think it is so, so important for youth, if they can, and young adults to attend this convention and just expand their knowledge of mental health. And I'll probably end up getting into this a little bit later, and I don't want to take up too much time right now, but it's just, there are many reasons why it's important for young adults and youth to get involved with NAMI and in the convention. There's just so much that we can learn from the convention. So definitely, I would say young adults and mental health service providers, social workers, even teachers. I would say they definitely should join the convention as well if they can.
And Gabe, I'm going to jump in here with this as well because there's a couple of other groups. One of our speakers that we're really, really pleased to have with us this year, we've been trying to get him for a while, and he's been booked solid and hadn't been able to attend our convention, is Dr. Ross Green, who is a children's expert, and he's a psychologist who works with the families of young children and helping them work through the complications of raising children with mental health conditions and helping them to understand how to communicate, helping us to be better parents. I know for my family, nobody gave me that instruction book that said, this is how you raise a child with a mental health condition. But Dr. Ross has written some fabulous books, and there's so much more out there now than there was in the past. But we've also got some, so parents of younger children, kids under the age of 18 are going to benefit from Dr. Ross's presentation. We have a number of panel presentations that are going to focus on things like the crisis intervention teams across the state of Tennessee and how NAMI helps make them work. We also have a different panel that is going to focus on criminal justice behavioral health liaisons, the folks who work in the mental health system, but they do their jobs in the jails, where they're trying to help move people with mental health conditions away from a system of punishment and into a system where people can get the behavioral health care that they need. In essence, people, instead of being sentenced to isolation or punishment, they're being sentenced to receiving mental health treatment. How do we access those services? Who are they available for? We've got a great panel of 3 criminal justice liaisons who are going to answer those kinds of questions. We also have Jeff, tell us a little bit more about the co-response panel and who should be tuning in for that.
Well, I'm excited about the co-response panel, but I want to throw one other little thing about who should attend. I've always tried to say that people that are working in the mental health field can learn from the people that they treat, and that's something that happens at the conference. Now, it's harder online because you have presenters presenting with different backgrounds, but then we would have during lunch and breaks, people would talk with each other, but the audience is diverse, and diverse in that there's people living with a diagnosis and speaking. There are caregivers and there's mental health professionals, and we can all learn from each other. Now, as far as the co-response goes, there's been a lot of news about law enforcement and responding to a mental health crisis. So we would like to think of decriminalizing mental illness and having treatment instead of criminal justice involvement as much as possible. And a lot of people agree with that, including people in the criminal justice system. So there's been a movement across the country to have new programs, sometimes called co-response or collaborative response or other alternative response programs that have more of a health focus, where it could be healthcare workers or emergency squad workers or social workers either coming onto a scene with law enforcement or instead of law enforcement. It could be an EMT and a social worker. So there's different models that are popping up around the country, and we have a panel that includes people here in Tennessee that have been doing this there's a program in Memphis and Knoxville, and there's speakers from that. There's a new program began in Nashville. We've got a speaker from that. And then there's also some emerging programs in the upper mid-Cumberland area. So it's really showcasing what we're doing in Tennessee as local policymakers kind of figure that out. And we don't do any treatment at NAMI, but we do education. And that's part of education, to let communities know what could be done and what's happening around the country. So that's an important part.
Jeff, thank you so much. Are there anybody else want to weigh in on who should attend? Of course, the big answer that everybody should know is that everybody should attend. Mental health, mental illness, this is important for every single member of our community. So whenever these questions come up, well, should I attend? Yes. Well, but you don't know who it doesn't matter. They should attend. Well, what about a 15-year-old? Yes. What about a 90-year-old? Yes. Yes.
I do have another suggestion for people who can attend or should attend is our affiliates. NAMI Tennessee is located in Nashville, and as part of the NAMI Alliance, we have throughout the state 20 different affiliates, roughly 20. And this is a great opportunity for those affiliate members to come together and see what's going on in other parts of the state, what programs are available, like Jeff was mentioning, programs in the Mid-Cumberland and Memphis and Davidson County. And when we meet in person, it's a great opportunity for those affiliate members to meet, exchange ideas, best practices, network, and certainly having it be virtual this year, the networking's not quite the same, but it's still a great opportunity for affiliates to see what we're doing at NAMI Tennessee.
I am so glad that you ripped the Band-Aid off about networking, because that is a question that people have. Is there an opportunity to network even though we're virtual?
I will answer that one because I am so excited about this opportunity. I love networking, as you all can tell. I love to talk and love to meet people. So on this platform that we're using, you can actually see who is attending online. You can also message them directly. Not only that, but you can set or create a table for just you and that person to talk one-on-one outside of the convention in the platform. So basically, I mean, for not being able to be in person, it can't really get any better than that, I feel like.
I could not agree more. Does anybody else want to weigh in on virtual networking?
In person, it can't really get any better than that, I feel like.
Oh, we get to hear it twice. Way to go, Rachel. Who left their radio on when they called in to win the concert tickets?
Hey, Gabe, I see we've got a question in the chat. We've been talking a lot about our speakers, and Trish wants to know how are the keynote speakers chosen, and were they given topics to speak to by NAMI Tennessee? So every year, our convention committee, okay, so we're about to wrap up later this week, this convention committee, and immediately after that, this committee will reform again, and we will start working on 2022. It's a perpetual process. So at some point in the near future, we will put out a call for presenters. We'll try to get some ideas, but we also, in addition to things people writing to us and telling us, hey, this is what I want to talk about, a lot of the sessions and a lot of the questions are generated by folks who are contacting our resource helpline. We really try to pay attention to those trends. The reason why the Criminal Justice Behavioral Health Liaison panel is being launched is because, unfortunately, during COVID, so many of our family members ended up running into issues with the law. They ended up incarcerated, and we used them as a regular resource to be able to try and help people to shift and have better encounters with the justice system. So that's one of the primary reasons why we're having that, is all the calls that we receive from family members who are trying to deal with that very topic. So that's what we do, is we start looking at, hey, what are the big questions we're being asked, and who is an expert, who is best suited to help us answer those questions. So thanks for that, Trish. We appreciate the question.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to comment before we move on? That was pretty thorough, Roger. Thank you. All right, well, moving on to the next question. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments, just like Trish did, and we will answer as many as we can. Now, I love this next question because I have been, full disclosure, I have been live, and it is in Nashville, Tennessee. And since I have been to Nashville, Tennessee, and since I have been to a live concert, the minute I saw this question, I was like, duh. But remember, it's virtual. Not everybody's been to Nashville, Tennessee. And it was obviously very arrogant of me to assume that just because I learned something 2 years ago at the age of 42, everybody should know it. But the big question is, especially in a virtual environment, why are we featuring musical guests?
I can answer that one. So part of our lineup of events includes an appearance by an Americana singer-songwriter named Langhorne Slim. And I met Langhorne after a concert that he had in Nashville last month. And I was really intrigued to meet him because of his openness and candor about his own depression and anxiety. His most recent album, Strawberry Mansion, was that the songs on there were written and recorded during the pandemic. And it exemplifies the anxiety that he was feeling during COVID and that many of us have been feeling. And I waited for him after the concert, and I slipped in my business card from NAMI, Tennessee, and I said, I just wanted to thank you for your openness and to speak about this. And we just started talking and created a dialogue. He's been interviewed by National Public Radio and in Rolling Stone magazine, which of course is all about music, about his stand that he's taking on mental illness and this openness. So here's a case where we have the opportunity to highlight this great singer-songwriter who speaks to the very mission that we have.
I love that. Of course, I feel that the answer is because Nashville is Music City, USA.
We don't do anything without music. It's built into the name. It's a requirement, but there is also such a strong connection between individuals who live with mental health conditions and creativity, and a lot of times that's music. We have a history as an organization of weaving that in the tapestry, whether it's when we were meeting live and in person, we would always start our convention with a drum circle to have create energy for the conference and power and to help connect people together. And Jeff has done a fabulous job at seeking out not just music, not just good music, but music with a message, and folks who are willing to talk about whether it is Joseph LeMay, an artist that we had who plays under the name Sun Talk, or I'm drawing blanks on some names from other folks that we've had in the past, but we've had just a long history of being able to provide and weave music into our conference. Music is healing, and so yeah, I'm a Langhorne Slim fan. I got a couple of his discs. I've been playing him this morning, and I'm jazzed that he's going to be there Friday. I can't wait to see that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Roger. Anybody else want to comment on why we're having music?
Gabe, I want to mention one thing. We also have Langhorne's on Friday. On Thursday, we have some folks from the Me Too Orchestra, which originated in Boston. And it's classical music, which is not really my favorite kind of music, but the story is so inspiring, because they got together virtually and put together an orchestra, and they play together from their homes. And there's a movie about them, which we'll be sharing details about later. But there'll be a panel from the conductor and the filmmaker, and it's just pretty cool. So you don't need to worry. There's no 2-hour classic music thing, but they play together, and the conductor has bipolar, and everybody's got something, and here we are creating during a pandemic. So it's just an uplifting story, I think.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Thank you so much, everybody. I think that the music definitely adds something, especially for those of us who haven't been to a concert in 2 years, who haven't been to an event. I mean, there's just a lot of things that because of the pandemic have been put on hold, and live music has been one of those things. So being able to get even pieces of it in a virtual conference, I think is wonderful, and definitely worth the price of admission. Moving on to the next question, let's talk about sponsorships. We've talked about how expensive it is to put something like this on, even in a virtual world, but who is sponsoring the convention, and is there anything that we should know about the sponsors?
I guess that's me. I hate to be doing all the talking, because you've got a team of people here that are working really hard, but I don't want to mention sponsors so much because I don't have a list in front of me, and I'm going to leave some of them out. But if you come, you get to visit with them. And what we find at our conference is that folks get to learn. So there's a psychiatric hospital. I'll mention a couple. So Vanderbilt Medical Center is a psychiatric hospital, and they're going to be there. But there's a lot of mental health centers, and there's other organizations like Tennessee Healthcare Campaign. There's an advocacy organization, or Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network. And we will have some folks from the peer support movement that could talk about what is a certified peer support specialist, and learn about that, and if you might want to become one of them or hire a peer support specialist or a person in recovery. So there's a whole bunch of sponsors, and if you go to our webpage, again, you can check out the program. You'll see the sponsors. But more importantly, come and visit. So they'll be there, and you can go from table to table during breaks and during lunch and different times. We'll have the exhibit hall open. And also, again, network with each other is great, and learn about the programs of NAMI Tennessee. So we will have tables also that promote the different programs that we have. Rachel could mention one of them. Roger could mention some others, and so we're a sponsor for ourselves also.
Yeah,
We
it's
want
such
people to
it's
know
such
about the
an
great programs.
sorry, Jeff. It's such an incredible opportunity. I mean, imagine you have a family member who needs a particular service or a particular service provider, or they check into a hospital and you already know somebody who's there. It can be so powerful in the times of chaos and crisis to have an ally, somebody that you know, somebody that you've met, have more answers to questions, all of those things. And all of that is something that is, possible by networking at the state conference.
Yes, and I just wanted to briefly mention the tables and the exhibit hall, because that might sound a bit unusual. How can that happen when we have this online? And if you've not attended any conferences or conventions online, I can explain real quick. Basically, it's a you click on a button and it takes you to a breakout room, like another screen, and you're on a screen with other people. So there'll be breakout rooms for our sponsors, for instance, breakout rooms for subject matters like mental health awareness. And you'll click on that, and then you'll be in a smaller room with maybe 4 or 5 people instead of the many, many other people in the big room. And I don't know if that's a adequate example, or somebody else can chime in, but I just wanted to let our viewers have a better understanding of what the exhibit halls and the tables look like online.
It's very cool. Think of it like a breakout room, except virtually. So it would be like if Roger and Jeff went to their own private room, but left Rachel, Alisa, and Gabe in the big room to continue talking. That way, Roger and Jeff could have a private conversation. And then Roger could leave that room and Rachel could go in and talk to Jeff, or Alisa could go over. But you're moving from room to room, and each room has its own topic or feel. And in this case, the topics are what the sponsor is promoting, doing, working on, etc. So that's, of course, very powerful, because now you're not in a giant room with 100 people talking about something that maybe only 10 or 15 people care about. So it's not just like a giant Zoom chat for 2 days. The people spread out, just like at a real conference, only virtually.
And you can move from room to room, from table to table with ease, and visit multiple people within a session. When you get a question answered, you can move on to another table to get another question answered. So it's going to be an exciting opportunity.
Well, this last question is my favorite question, because I am a speaker, so I love to hear about other speakers. And let's just talk about our speakers, and we have videos. So who wants to introduce a speaker and tell me what little sample video to play? And this is going to be fantastic.
I would tell you just play them, and can I talk over it, or will it say who they are? You have to cue it up.
You'll be able to hear the entire thing as soon as I hit play.
Okay, just go to it.
All right, here we go.
So, and this was the last of that 5, was if you're overwhelmed or unsafe, please reach out and get professional help. And so for those folks, where would you suggest they start?
So if you're having problems with functioning, if your symptoms have had a duration, typically a week or 2, or if you're having thoughts of harming yourself or someone else, safety, those 3 big areas mean you should probably get an assessment. Couple routes, your primary care provider. They may have avenues for clinicians. Your health plan, there's usually a phone number on the back of your card. Call them, and it's their responsibility to help you find the help that you're already paying for with your monthly premium. Those are 2 routes that I think a lot of people don't know. Mental health care is quite decentralized in America, so individual practitioners are taking care of their 80 patients. They're not necessarily thinking about the public health need. So you may get some people who say, I can't see you, they won't call you back. Don't take that personally. Once you get into care with someone, you're likely to get very good care.
Gabe, that is Dr. Ken Duckworth, who's the medical director for NAMI, and is writing a new guide for family members. He's just an extremely knowledgeable, experienced psychiatrist.
Yes, thank you so much, Jeff. Do you have any more information that you would like to give us on Dr. Duckworth before I move on to the next speaker?
You can see him on TV a lot of places. You can Google him, and he's just, we're glad to have him at NAMI. I mean, I know him personally, and I'm just so pleased that he can join us virtually here at the convention this week.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. The next speaker is Paul Gilmartin with Mental Illness Happy Hour, and I think he's a super cool guy. So here we go.
My hope is, because Janet, as you know, we've talked about this, and one of the reasons why you're my guest is we've both been very honest with each other over the years about our struggles with depression, and there were times when I was so depressed that I felt so like nobody understands the way I feel.
Yeah.
And then when you and I started talking about it, I realized we feel the same way. And the more I've opened up to people about what it feels like to have that gray blanket of depression when it comes in like a fog and robs you of energy and joy. So many people feel that same way, but there's not a way for them to connect. And I hope that this podcast and the website will be a community that people can connect to each other and say, hey, I'm taking this pill, it has this side effect, or, hey, I discovered this great thing to do when I'm exercising that it helps give me energy, or a thought to think, or a book to read, or whatever.
Sure.
Okay, Gabe, you know Paul Gilmartin. Do you have any stories you want
I
to share
do
about
know
him?
Paul. Hang on, the music is still in my ears, even though I've stopped sharing it. Yes, Jeff, I apologize. I didn't hear your question.
I know you know Paul. Do you have any Paul stories you want to share?
So, Paul, I have so many Paul stories that I would love to share. So first off, Paul is a podcaster. The podcaster is Mental Illness Happy Hour. You just heard a little segment right there. And it's important to understand that he himself lives with mental illness. He lives with trauma, and he openly discusses it. So he's not just somebody that's interviewing people who want to talk about it and he understands it from a medical perspective. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but he is thinking about it from lived experience. And also what I think is fantastic is he's talking to other people, a large number of celebrities who are living with mental illness challenges, addiction challenges, and issues and things like that. And once again, I just think that is super incredible because I mean, it's just they're long conversations. They're great conversations, but he's been doing this for a number of years. And what is most exciting for me is that his speeches are basically, half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour of everything that he's learned talking to people all over the country about living with mental illness, addiction, and trauma. And it's a way to get a lot of that knowledge without having to interview 300 people over 5 years. So it's definitely worth checking
He's
out.
also been a successful comedian on television and stand-up. Is that right?
Yeah, he was the host of TBS's Dinner and a Movie. For those of us who are old enough to remember life before TiVo and DVR, you used to just have to watch television. You couldn't get home from work and queue up the show that you wanted to watch earlier. If you were awake at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, midnight, you just had to watch what was on TV. And that was Paul Gilmartin. And he would... Yeah, Rachel feels attacked. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Gabe. Yeah, I feel like that was directed at me. I remember a time where there were only 2 dials on the TV, and if there was no remote, you had to adjust the little TV antennas. That's about as far back as I can go. But that might be my mom's story. But now that I think about it.
I was directing that at my 7-year-old niece, Eva, who's watching. I apologize for any. But sincerely, it was a very cool show, and it got me through a lot of insomnia. So it was super cool to watch all of these movies that I'd seen 1,000 times and have Paul and his co-host give little tidbits about it during all of the commercial breaks. So it also made an 1.5-hour movie, like 3 hours long, and he taught you how to cook. So it was pretty cool and funny.
Well, Gabe, I want to mention about Dr. Green. Roger can tell more about Dr. Green, who I think is your next clip. But what I'm excited about is trying to help those parents that are worried about school-age children, that with COVID and masks and not masks and just the anxiety of vaccinate and not vaccinate and everything else, to have a child mental health expert, I think is timely.
Well, not just a child expert, but a children's communication expert. That's really, what Dr. Green does quite well. And he's an author. He's got a number of books. He understands children who are affected by mental health condition. When my oldest child was first affected with a mental health condition, and we saw the signs and symptoms, it was several years ago, and the doctors and other professionals told us at that time, we don't diagnose children until after puberty, but we know so much more about what mental health conditions look like in children now. And being the earlier we can intervene, the better off they are. And that's exactly what Dr. Green is all about. He's got a fabulous book. Well, it's kind of a downer book when you read Lost in School, that talks about the tragic consequences of children with mental health conditions. It's exceptionally well written, and he proposes some incredible solutions to the problem. And that's what I like so much about him. It's not just he doesn't just write about the problem. He has some very proactive solutions to problems that he discusses, including a communications problem. And I've heard him about 3 times, and every single time he's just been a fabulous speaker. Really look forward to hearing him again.
And we have a little clip of him speaking. So without further ado, I will play that right now.
I think if you're working with kids in general, but challenging kids in particular, you need a philosophy. Who is this kid? What's he about? What's he up to? If he's up to anything. Because you see, your philosophy is going to guide your actions, especially when the going gets tough. No philosophy, no guide. The most important theme of collaborative problem solving is this one. Kids do well if they can. Now, nobody ever falls off their chair at the sight of kids do well if they can. It's only an earth-shattering philosophy. If you consider a much more popular alternative philosophy that floats around out there called kids do well if they wanna. Now, kids do well if they can, and kids do well if they wanna are 2 completely different philosophies. And they have completely different ramifications for what you're going to do to or with this kid to make things better. Let's think about kids do well if they wanna for a second. If you've got a kids do well if they wanna mentality and you're working with a kid who's not doing well, then the reason you think he's not doing well by virtue of your philosophy is because he doesn't wanna. I've been thinking about kids do well if they wanna for a long time, and here's the conclusion I've come up with about kids do well if they wanna. It's wrong. Flat out, dead wrong.
Thank you so much, everybody. That was just a little clip, and you'll hear a lot more at our convention. So I know that we are getting near the end of our time together, but there is another question that popped up, and I believe this question is directed at Rachel. What is TikTok?
Clearly that was directed at you, Gabe.
See, the sad part is it's a little video social media. That's as much as I know about TikTok. I'm old.
Huh.
It's for people below 40.
Now you understand what it feels like to not understand something and feel attacked, Gabe.
I thought it was only fair to give you the opportunity at retaliation.
No. Well, thanks, Trish, for that question. If anyone is wondering what TikTok is, it is a social media app where people just create really short videos. And so far I've came across a lot of people doing random stunts, like cool stuff like that, some comedy sketches, and the thing that I'm interested in the most, a lot of mental health information. So again, follow us on TikTok, NAMI_Tennessee, and you'll get to hear my voice again.
Rachel, just real quick, on NAMI's TikTok, I know a lot of people are familiar with TikTok for its humor, and there's a lot of great short videos that go viral and they have a lot of humor, and that's how I first heard about TikTok. And honestly, that's all I know, are just the viral videos. But what does NAMI Tennessee's TikTok look like? Because I'm assuming it's not a bunch of humorous videos about mental health. It's a lot of well, maybe it is. Maybe I have assumed again.
Well, you know what assuming does, Gabe.
Yes, I do.
No, so some of our videos right now, we have a few up because I just started it recently. So one of the most recent videos is about the NAMI convention, and then the video before that, I don't remember what it's about. I'm sorry. So I like to add some fun into the videos so they're not all serious. So when people are scrolling through videos, they're not just like, okay, I've heard this before, or, some people just we need to brighten their days up. So
we embrace humor as healthy, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that one of the tenets of NAMI? We embrace humor as healthy. So
yeah, we had our staff retreat on the video, the one that you did.
Awesome.
Yes, that's what it was. Yep.
Well,
yeah, you did a good job.
I know that the point of this was not to discuss TikTok, but I mean, it was only fair to give Rachel an opportunity to smack me upside my head. So now we're even. It's even now. All right. I don't want to be looking over my shoulder okay, good. That's how you resolve issues, ladies and gentlemen. The NAMI Tennessee Virtual Conference is coming up this week, the 23rd and the 24th, Thursday and Friday. There is absolutely still time to get a ticket to join. There's an open door ticket for $5. Regular tickets are $20. Please visit namitn.org and check out all of the opportunities for you to join. It is absolutely well worth your time, as I hope this preview has proven. Do we have any final thoughts before we jet off into the sunset?
Yeah, Gabe, I want to just give a real quick plug to make sure everybody knows that we are going to we've got some information available out about the continuing professional development opportunities that are available. We've got continuing education units that are going to be offered to social workers, to certified peer recovery specialists from the state of Tennessee, CPRSs, certified family support specialists in Tennessee, CFSSs, and also we've got an agreement with the Department of Children's Services to provide some training units for their foster parents. And so all that information is going to be available. How you get those, how you access those credits, get the information for it is all available when people register, and is coming out in the program information as well. So I hope everybody will take advantage of that professional development.
Wonderful. Any other closing thoughts? Going once.
Gabe, for being
Thanks, Gabe.
Thank you, Gabe.
Thank you for having us. So excited for the convention. Woo!
Yay! Thank you all so very much for being here. Again, please go to namitn.org. Sign up for the email list so you can find out about events like this before it is the week of. Also, that is where all the legislative advocacy information comes out, the write a letter to your senator. I mean, just so many people put in so much effort into this, and it's one email, it's condensed, it comes out once a week. I sincerely mean it when I say that everybody who cares about mental health advocacy and information in the state of Tennessee should sign up for it, because it's a lot easier to digest that weekly email than it is to just read everything that happens in the state of Tennessee on your own. So let NAMI Tennessee do all the heavy lifting for you. So with that, we will see you next Monday at 2 Central, 3 Eastern, and thank you for tuning in.